Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. So today, again, Friday, I like to do florals, and we're gonna do a little tutorial on how to draw really loose, how to paint really loose. I give you a reference photo for this one. This is in my sketchbook, my art sketchbook, and you see mine's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be, but it has that feeling, that loose, sweet feeling of like these dried, loose flowers. We're going to talk about just drawing something simple like this. I go over how to do that, and then just painting some washes. It doesn't have to be super complicated to paint pretty florals that you're proud of, right? And really, it's kind of like a doodle, and then you're just washing in color. If you're a Patreon member, you get the traceable that goes with this, and I'll link the photograph, but everyone gets the photograph linked anyway. And I go over some more details at the end as well, so you get an extended video. If you want to join Patreon, click the link in the description box and my profile. It's where I have extended, added, extra, weekly exclusive tutorials that are really long, like an hour with more in-depth stuff. On the top tier, we have a live stream and we talk about things. We ask questions as I'm painting. We go over as like live painting once a month. And we have a Facebook group where we all share our pictures and talk and chit-chat and all that good stuff, where you get weekly challenges, monthly giveaways. And also Patreons get first dibs on all my watercolor workshops and retreats. But without further ado, I'm going to teach you how to do this, how to paint this simply and not make yourself crazy and create something really beautiful. So let's get started. All right, to start with this fun exercise, I recommend that you have a really good 100% cotton paper, like an Arche or Fabriano or Bohong, because the whole imaging, drawing, etc., it's going to lend itself to that. I'm using mechanical pencil, just something I bought in a store anywhere. I'm like a number 2 mechanical pencil, nothing super light, because you want to be able to see the pencil in this particular exercise, right? We'll go over the paints and stuff as I use them, and then the sketchbook I'll be using afterwards. But the beginning of the tutorial is just a simple, quick sketch on how to just draw something sketchy, and then paint it in like a nice wash. You have this really kind of unique, stylized floral that's just not this boring, mundane floral. I've shown many tutorials here on YouTube on sketching flowers, but now we're just going to do like a really loose, kind of fun one. So we'll just think about some daisies, right? Just ovals, and then just a quick sketch. See, I'm very quickly sketching this in. You just really kind of simple. I'm sure you've doodled little daisies like this in your life. Bring the stem down, and then you can add another one. And you really want to work kind of fast. See, my sketch doesn't look like something fancy. Maybe you can just have one kind of like here, and then the little petals like this. And you just bring down the leaves really quick, see? Pull some over like this. So you go like this. Just do some doodling. Different type of flowers or just different types of stems would be like this. So you kind of curve it, and you're just kind of adding some little leaves. And do another one. You see how fast, and it's not like perfect, but look at the look of it. It's kind of really fun and pretty and cool and stylized. So when you're out in the world and you're trying to draw some flowers, sit around and like this paper and just doodle this stuff. The doodles are great. They really help you, like teaching you to draw, and your eyes like staring, making composition, and they're thinking about the placement and the look of the flower. So studying the flower is really important, and sometimes just doodling the flowers. So now you could just do some small little dizzy ones. I'm just doing little circles like here, kind of in a cluster, and then just attach them with the stem. So it's kind of like a garrow or a stem, but you can make these up. So they're like wildflowers. Do some more like that. And these are kind of like what's in the picture. If you want to slow this down, you can slow the video down on YouTube. Really slow. That helps. So take the same daisies, you can make them teeny bit smaller, but I really encourage you, see how fast I'm sketching this, to do that. Do it really fast and scriggle little wiggles like this. See, really kind of simple lines for leaves like this. So then when you go to take your paint, it doesn't even have to be a million colors, right? I'm going to grab my little palette here. Since I have such a small little area, I'll use my Princeton long round. And just simple colors. I have cadmium yellow deep. I could grab some burnt sienna. I was thinking about burnt umber too. Just like really kind of rustic kind of colors. Put a little bit of this in this yellow. I don't really want it so bright, like a mustardy yellow. I have a paper towel close by. I've got my burnt sienna. I'm sorry, burnt umber. Grab some Paynes gray, loosen that up too. Then we can make some like green. So got the Prussian blue, grab the yellow. I don't want it bright green like this. So I'm going to grab the brown in here, make it more of an olivey green. They kind of look fallish. It doesn't really matter. So then you're grabbing the yellow. So for the daisy center, you just kind of loosely again, you're just kind of loosely just sticking. I'm not sure if I use this paintbrush, but you see how I just kind of put that in there. And I'm going to mix up some orange. I'm going to grab cadmium red light. Mix it in here. Again, water it down. And just kind of throw in. Look at that. This is what a doodly floral sketch looks like. Simple flowers. And then the brown, I'm going to mix in some Paynes gray to make it more of like a brown, I don't know, a real deep brown, not like a reddish brown, like a blackish brown. And I'll just use that for the stems. I'm just using this paintbrush. Pull it down. You can use this like olivey green for the lovely leaves on the daisies. See? Just really kind of sketchy. And if you go a little fast, see I'm going fast? You just draw over your areas. I'm just tapping some of the greens that you see here. It creates this really lovely, delicate floral. And like I said, it doesn't require tons of effort. You don't have to really paint so much with your the whites of the daisies. If you want to just I'll take some ultramarine blue. Here, I'm just loosening up a little bit right here. And put a little blue for the leaves. Excuse me, the petals. But you see I'm just tapping that. And then you could take some of the yellow and add more brown. Tap that around. You're really just kind of playing with color and drawing and getting used to doing all of that. And I'm loosening up this green that I had mixed up. And play with your brushes, so you can just push down and pull back. Use all the techniques. I have so many videos here on YouTube, thousands, on how to paint leaves and florals. But this kind of technique is about learning to have your own voice when it comes to watercolor. So if you're a doodler and you get a pencil, and you should be a doodler because it's really, look at that, how pretty that looks. I think I could just put this on a greeting card, send to a friend, and they would love it. Has a style to it. It's kind of cool. You can put a little bit more. It doesn't have to be blue. You can put beige for the little petals on the daisy. Maybe you'd wait till the yellow dries, and then your greens can have a little more depth by adding in some more Prussian blue. Get a little darker. See, while it's still wet, you can do the little tippy taps. Again with the brush. These are all techniques I've talked about 1,000 times here on my channel because I really want to emphasize how simple it is. I think people get too stuck into like really painting every little petal and every leaf, and just please don't do that. Just go have fun. Get really loose. Get in here. And you'll be surprised. One of the ladies in my workshop at Cape Cod last year, I did like a 5-minute hydrangea, and her hydrangea came out gorgeous. Because she wasn't thinking, and she was so proud of it because she knew that she wasn't thinking about it, and it just came out amazing. Same thing here, same technique. So I showed you that technique with the pencil, drawing that out, and now I have a link to this photograph for the for this little quick tutorial. And again, you have the tools that I showed you how to sketch this. So I just looked at this and sketched it how I felt like doing, and I could add my own flowers to it if I wanted to. And the Patreon members get this total sketch. This is on the Arche sketchbook. Have you ever seen this sketchbook? It's like a travel journal. Some of the paintings I've done. This one's on YouTube. This one too. This one too, I think. Yeah, maybe this one too. And this one's on Patreon. So yeah, cute little sketchbook, and it's arche paper, so let's bind it up. So if you're out in the, you can just do like studies of flowers wherever you are, if you're near some. If it's ice tundra like where I am, you're not near some, so you're gonna have to make it up. We'll talk about the same thing. I'm just gonna go back in here with our little oranges, and I'm looking at the photograph, and again I can just go in here and just tap in the color. I'm not gonna really worry too much. So you can go in here. I just did my little doodles. I will just tap in the color, mix around the browns. You see, I'm not going to follow it to the T because I drew my own little thing. The yellow for the little daisies. Again, just kind of fill those in. You could add more daisies, add more greens. I had some little daisies down here. You can just take your brush and tippy tap. Oh, mustardy color. Look at that. I just tippy tapped. And I came up with a really kind of cool, kind of pretty. There's some orange happening over here. And I'm just really going fast. Tippy tapping that orange. A little more orange happening in here. Cluster of it. And we'll be adding in some stems and some greens and all that good stuff. See, I've got all the same colors we just talked about. Just got to work it in, adding some browns and some greens, throwing in some stems, a little dark, and grab some Paynes gray. Tend not to use Paynes gray. I'd like to use ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. It's a nice combo, these two. They make nice, really pretty grays. More on the blue side, but if you add more burnt sienna, it's more on the reddish brown kind of grays. So you can kind of fill that in. So here, I'll leave some spaces and I'll slowly fill it in just by going like this with the brush. I've got that green mixed up in here. I'm just going to tap. I can put the little stem and just tap like little greens going here. Same thing here. And leave the pencil. It looks pretty. It's stylized. See, I'm just going in around here. It shouldn't take you a long time. It really should kind of go fast. And I know many of you are very hesitant about that, but that's the kind of look that I was going for, that I like, that makes it really pretty, kind of simple, not making yourself nuts trying to paint every little nook and cranny. If you want your yellows brighter, I'm going back in and filling my yellows. I'll add some more, and then I'll tap some yellow out here. It could be like a yellow yaller. As I'm painting too, by the way, I can change things up. I mean, I have my drawn in sketch. I don't have to just follow that, which I'm not doing right now. I'm kind of like just kind of playing around with adding color and seeing where it takes me. And you see how I'm just kind of tapping around the sketches that I did, that which is kind of like wiggles. And it kind of enhances it and helps it out a little more, right? And then I'll go back in and add some greenery again. Just simple taps, line, taps next to it, all that good stuff. And I can leave the pencil marks. I can kind of fill in some of the green, make it more a little brighter if you wanted to. And some dark blue, grays, browns, all happening in here with the stem. You can kind of, if you want to just, so you don't want to stop, you can put some masking fluid right here. So you can just go like that and paint over it if it becomes more cumbersome for you. But try and see if you can just go and paint to the line. Going to get some more browns and some grays, deeper colors, and suggest that you do that around some of the light areas too. You can paint around the daisy so you can see some of the petals and then not. See that one little section? Paint around the little orange areas. So you might have to take a little bit more time to do this. It's the negative painting. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And it's like a gray. I'm going to add some more green. Hold on. Prussian blue. A little deeper green. So you can go around kind of the petals that you see here. for the lovely daisies. Just fill in color. And you have the negative painting. Leave the rest white. And kind of go out here and add a little stem. That helps, excuse me, that helps bring it out more. You can add a little bit more darker color. But then you see the daisies now. If you want to outline them, feel free. And also feel free to please use, if you want to use an ink pen, you don't have to be doing everything like we're doing. But see, I'm just going to go in here and add some browns. Really simply, some greens. And I'm just taking my brush. If I have to go in between some of these, I will. I'll go around and I'll add the depth down here. Another little trick is you can just kind of put a wash over all of it. So here I'm grabbing color here and wash right in over all that. The colors will change. And I'm tapping in between. Just kind of filling all that in. So now it's kind of filled in, right? And of course, we want this depth in between some of these lighter ones. So get a darker color in there. You get some deeper blues, browns, all that good stuff. And of course, on the bottom down here, definitely will be darker. You wouldn't see white on the edge. It's going to be nice and dark. Just fill that in. And if you mess it up, don't worry about it. You just go in here. I'm going to fill that in. So now it's kind of like wet, so I have to wait till some of it dries. But you see the enhancement of like, so the white is really showing through. And then simple. I'm just going to go in and play around with real simple doodads. Maybe some more browns. And maybe just some Sienna orangey kind of browns. Adding some stems here, just kind of floating. Some browns, and again I'm just tapping and moving the browns and the blues. Not using a super brush, just kind of tippy tapping all those colors. Get some ultramarine blue in here. Tapping around the orange. Now the orange really kind of faded out, so I might have to go double dip and put some more orange back in there. And around my yellows. And all this good stuff in here. Right, so I'll go back and add more orange. Lost it. It gets a little thicker paint, so I won't lose it as much. It got pretty pale. I want to add some over here. And even here. And I get some yellow. Kind of dance some yellow in here. Like I said, I'm not following the actual picture. Add my own bright yellow here and here, and then I'll add some browns. I think it's good enough in a way. Loosen up this burnt sienna with some burnt umber. Some nice browns. I'll add a little Paynes gray to make it a little deeper brown. And again, I'm just tapping, pulling out, twisting, voila. And I'll let that kind of soak in and dry a bit, and then I'll go and fill in with some darker colors. So really that didn't take much effort. Did it at all. That's really kind of cool. Pretty, kind of like, I like the colors I saw over here. I don't necessarily have to follow the picture to the T, right? And there was some deeper, so you can just tippy tap some deeper element going here, like gray, blue. And I'm just kind of tapping that out. Moving the brush around, wiggling it. Get a little more depth. These are more interesting. Your eye's going there, isn't it? So then we have to balance it, because you see that darkness right there. So we'll tap some over here. This blue I'm tapping in over here. It's ultramarine blue, a little bit of Paynes gray. And then I'll go back in and add some of this green stuff, so the eye can kind of balance. All right. work on the real vase in the background real quick, and then we're done. So for my vase, I've mixed some ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, and depending on how much burnt sienna you put in, it gets a little more brown gray, blue, more blue gray, and I'm just going to adding more water here. And it is kind of more of a beigey kind of tone, so you could add a little more burnt sienna to get it more of a beigey kind of gray. See, keep adding and just tapping in a little bit at a time to see. I don't want to go too far. Okay. And I'm not going to go crazy about this one. I'll just start to play with adding in the colors and the sides of the shadows you see. So it's kind of mostly on the right, and this kind of fills in a little bit. And here, still using that lovely number 8 brush, going down in here, see, just filling in all those grooves that I drew, those lovely grooves that you see in this vase, filling that in, and then going down here too, filling in some grooves. You can start with a light wash if you want to do that on the whole thing. I kind of want to keep it more like white tone, so I'm just going right to just the shadow. See how simply, once you draw this in, it doesn't take much. And then of course, a little line under the lip. It would be a little bit darker under this little lip. And that took minimal time once you draw it in. And you can start to play with adding a little bit deeper color down the bottom here. And then the background, I love this brown background. Of course I'll put that in. So you've noticed if you mix these two colors, which I love, the blue and the burnt sienna, they kind of separate. It's like oil and water. And it creates this really cool kind of wash. So these lovely gradient washes that are just because they're just fighting against each other. It's like oil and water. So I'll let that sit for now. I'm just going to squint my eye and see if I need to put more in here. Yep. So this side would be darker. So you put a little darker wash, and I'll loosen up the paint, and this side would be lighter. Just getting a light wash. So you see what I'm doing here? And I'll have that other one be much darker on that side. Does that make sense? See, it's not going to be perfect like the picture. I don't even care. It's an exercise in having fun. And studying. Studying is the key for everything. I know people hate it, but just like in school, the more studying you do, the better you'll be. It's very important. I'm not saying you have to be a genius, but it does help if you study the things that you are painting. Look at them, observe them. You know, some of the artists spend hours just observing and then they go paint. This is true. So just adding on the line there, and that's that. So then we're going to go into the background. I'm going to paint these lovely browns. I'm going to switch to a 12 Neptune series. I'm going to just put in loose color. I'm going to just use the same color I have here. I'm going to grab some burnt umber and some Paynes gray, mix in so it becomes more of a deeper brown than a red brown, because burnt umber, even burnt sienna, very red. You can add a little blue to change it. I'm going to wash this down by adding more water to it. And then we're going to put some of this wash over here. I'm going to make sure this is kind of dry though. I'm just going to go right for it. Let's see if it's dry. Ooh, if it's not, whatever. And then you're going to have to kind of paint around these little blooms, but I'm sure you can do it. And see how loosely I'm doing it? And then just fill it in. Now, this is going to dry lighter. I might use this whole wash to go down in here. And then grab some water and kind of get it looser over here. See? Just lighter on the side. I'm just grabbing water on my brush. I didn't even put it on the palette. See how lighter that is? Boom. And already put it up here, and you're going to kind of loosely go around those daisies and the greens that you did. Try not to get in them because they'll kind of mush the paint and it'll bleed into it. But it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm grabbing more water. You can start to grab this paint again because it's going to get darker on this side, but not too dark. But you see how I did that? I just went up and grabbed the paint right on the brush. Now I can get this again. It's going to bleed. Maybe not a lot because it's starting to dry. You want to just go like from the edge of the vase out, and this section too can get darker. And I'll wait till it dries and go back in and get it a little bit darker too, because it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to look nice. And then just take that paint and kind of like wiggle in between some of your blooms that you have here. See, I'm just taking it, just tapping and wiggling in between. So you might end up erasing some areas, but that's okay. You don't want to leave super white. You do want to give it some depth. But look how pretty it looks already. Masterpiece. These little simple techniques. I mean, flowers don't have to be perfect flowers. That look. Now I'm going to go, I grab water on my brush, kind of clean off some of the paint. Just kind of mush this around. You want this section darker, right? And we do kind of want a straight line on that one. I'm going to get some of this light paint. See, I move pretty fast. If it's creating a little bloom in here, it's no big deal. I'm kind of mushing this one. I really want that to be a darker line. And it's going to get darker still. I'm going to put thicker paint on there. So I'm going to let this dry and come back. All right, let it dry. I added some more of the same colors again. See, going back in here. And the consistency is similar. And then I'll get darker. Right? You want to get this darker. Put a nice little line out from where you had before. And here, see I put the color there? I'm going to grab some water on my brush even though I have it on here. So it gets a little looser. Less dark as this one, but they kind of have to blend together. So I'm going to put this up here. I'm just grabbing water on my brush. If it's too much, you can tap it on your paper towel. I'm just going to move the paint again. And then here in the section where they kind of meet, I'm going to take off some of the paint and then slowly blend them. So you have the darker one that's right here, but it's blended slowly into the other one. Now I might have skimmed my vase a little too much. But that's okay. Works good. And then you take this dark color and just kind of tapping in between the flowers again. A little bit over here, kind of wiggle this. And then grab water on your brush again. So you're kind of blending it out here. And you just kind of do some dry brushing going up here. Grab some water again to get off some of the paint and just go like that. Now it's all blended. And you have that lovely, like, intense, dark paint. That's what we wanted, right? So I would let this dry a little bit more, and we'll do a little wash on this side because it looks very white. We want this like, we don't want it to bleed into this. And then we'll be done. So I mix up these two colors again like we did the first time, getting them fairly loose. Tap my paper towel, and then I could just do like a little wash. Especially on this section here. Right, and a little bit here. See? Now it's shaded. I like that. You can get a little bit more on the side. Go ahead and grab a little more blue, mix in with that brown. And we can have even more of a blue, darker little shadow coming out here. Even still. Another glazing of that. Voila. And then if you want to just grab some water, tap in paper towel, and kind of blend it. Again, you can. And that is our lovely little vase, flowers. And again, take your time going in and out around the flowers to make them more enhanced. But this is a general thing. And then, if you want to follow all the little doodads you see on the table, you can just take your brush and grab some browns and grays and whatever. Flicker it. Dry brush is always great. Gonna grab some browns, grays. Like you see in the photograph, if you want to do the dry brush, of little texture things that are on the table. You just go like that. Just lightly go across. All right. So thank you guys for this little lesson that I've showed you. Hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, if your Patreons get a little bit more extra, and you get the traceable. So stay tuned for that. And thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I hope you learned something about just being loose and free with your watercolor and your sketching so that you create really pretty stuff. I mean, this didn't take much time at all. Maybe for you to draw something like that, the vase. For me, I drew fast, but I drew it really fast, and it's not perfect, but you get the gist of it. And when this dries, you can go back in and you can add the deeper shadow again in little crevices. So I hope this is helpful. Take care, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel, and I'll speak to you soon.